Welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JM International. Get ready to explore conversations with those making a difference through music.
Hello, and welcome everyone to the JM Jeunesse Musicale podcast, a global network of NGOs that empowers young people through music across all boundaries. Today, we're at the JM International office in Brussels. Open to all styles of music, we work for and with youth, harnessing the power of music to bridge social, geographical, and cultural divides. JMI has established 4 priorities: young musicians, young audiences, youth empowerment, and youth orchestras and ensembles. My name is Ricardo, and I'll be your host. And for this episode, I'm joined by Alesh, a committed rapper, slammer, and producer from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He started his solo career in 2006 and received the Revelation of Congolese Music Award at the Pan-African Okapi Awards in 2011. In 2018, he was voted most influential young person by the magazine Kivuzik. A key highlight for him was meeting President Barack Obama within the framework of the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Alesh is also part of Fair Play. Fair Play is an awareness-raising program and network-building effort to connect socially conscious artists and citizens worldwide, organized by JM International and partners. Together with several other members, he performed in Washington, D.C. at the International Anti-Corruption Conference 2022. Man, so nice to have you. So good to see you after Washington. It's been quite some time. What has been your journey into music?
Oh man. First of all, it's such a pleasure to be here. I mean, yes, it's been some time and we've been doing a lot of things here and there. I've been touring in Africa after Washington, so all good. My journey in music actually started 21 years ago in a small city in the DRC, in the DR Congo. For those who don't know, the DR Congo is located at the heart of Africa, in the center of Africa, that biggest country that you'll see there on your map. That's the DRC. And the third city of the DRC is named Kisangani. And I'm born and raised in Kisangani. So I started my music journey in 2001. Like getting on the stage and all that, writing my own songs. But first, I'm a huge music fan since my childhood. I spent all my life listening to all kinds of music, may them be from the DRC, like the urban movements, or from the traditional fields. Like, in the DRC, we have 450 different tribes and ethnies, and each tribe has its own music, its own kind of music. So I've been drawn into this wonderful sound world since my childhood. But in 2001, I started first as one of the youngest radio hosts of my city. I was for the national radio, RTNC. And then 1 or 2 years later, I got into music and integrated the first music group that I was into. It was called Hot Boys, the Hot Boys, and everything went from there.
Nice. What kind of music do you make? Like, how would you describe it to the audience?
Frankly, I think the word that best fits the kind of music that I do is fusion. But I'm mostly into African and electro fusion. Like when I say African, I'm very inspired by Southern African music. So my music is very clubby, it's very dance, it's all that, like music from Angola, from South Africa, and just a little bit of Afrobeat as well. But note that I came from a rap background. I used to be a rapper, so hip hop, all kinds of hip hop music are also kind of infused into the music that I make. And also, I'm from the Congo, I'm from the DRC, where the most known music genre in the DRC is Ndombolo. I also do some kind of Ndombolo in my music. So there's a name that I gave to that kind of genre that I'm trying to create. It's Ndombophronic, Ndombo for Ndombolo, Fro for Afro, tronic for electronic.
Nice.
That's the kind of music genre I'm trying to make, but I'm very open.
I remember from Washington, you said something like, I make music for the clubs, but with a real message. Can you say something about that, maybe?
Man, you know what? Let's be real. Nowadays, uh, in whatever kind of message music based on the message that we had in the 80s, the 90s, like the rap music, for example. Nowadays, I mean, research into the lyrics, trying to describe daily life of people. I mean, claiming you're right and all that. Man, nowadays people don't want to. I'm sorry, I don't want to say it. I don't want to frame it this way, but I mean, people want to be entertained. They just they just want to get away of hard realities that they live, but the realities are still there. That's why you see people more into fun music, into they just go to the club and want to evacuate whatever sorrow they have into them, whatever stress they have. But in the club, they don't pay attention to the lyrics, they pay more attention to the beat, they pay more attention to the kind of music that is being played by the DJ. So I was like, maybe the smartest way to attract people's attention again is basing your music. I mean, the production has to follow the format that please people, that make people jump, that make people dance in the club, evacuate their stress. But still, you need to kind of smartly put some critical messaging into your music. Because if you just go with the boom bap style, like boom bap kick and snare, kick, snare, it doesn't work. Especially here in the DRC, man, and all over Africa. Because right now I'm touring in other countries where they don't even speak English, they don't speak French. I'm both bilingual, I'm bilingual, I speak French and English, but you tour where they speak none of those languages, but they connect, but they do connect with your music.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the smartest way. Making music for the people, because I think that I have a role to play in my community, but still getting the most popular by making the type of music that people like.
And can you tell me a bit about that role that you feel you have to play in the community and the role of music within that?
Man, I've been lucky enough to become a little bit famous in my country, and I know that many Africans like myself share the kind of political instability in their countries. I am myself, as I said in the beginning, I grew up in Kisangani, and I'm a survival of over 4 different wars. And when I mean war, it's like, man, it's like war, like for real. First time, for example, I was shot. I was 15 years old. I was coming from college, and yeah, Rwandan and Ugandan armies started fighting in our city I mean, my life has been deeply impacted by political decisions. And the more I was becoming popular, the more I was like, probably this is the right time to speak on behalf of those people who complain down there, but who are not heard. Because, I mean, nobody cares. When I say something, people care because they know I am Alesh, they know I'm famous, they know all that. So I think that my role is to use my fame to protect the weakest. I'm not a superhero. I always tell people I'm not a superhero, and I'm not trying to be one. But I'm just trying to be right with myself, and I think I was born for a purpose, and this is the purpose that I'm serving.
It's a wonderful and heartfelt story. I interviewed another artist a few weeks ago, and I asked him what is the power of music, and he actually said, "I think music is a responsibility." Do you echo that sentiment?
Um, Frankly, okay, yes, of course. Not only music is a responsibility. I wouldn't frame it that way, even though I do connect myself with uh, that point of view. But I will say that um, having a loud voice is a blessing first, and it's a responsibility. It's like a coin. Comes with the blessings, comes with the responsibilities. I mean, being able to speak over a microphone is not given to everyone. And when you speak on a microphone, when you're on a stage, you're at the center of the attention of everyone. And that's the time, that's exactly the right time that you have to use and convey some kind of positive or relevant message. And if I have to go beyond that, I would say especially fame is a responsibility, definitely. And unfortunately, many people tend to forget that when they get famous.
And how, because I know you became a Fair Play ambassador, how has that impacted you, and how was it to be in Washington with the other artists and connect with them?
Oh man, first becoming a Fair Play ambassador was um, one of the most beautiful achievement that I had in 2020. Why? Because guess what? 9 years before, in 2011, I applied to the Fair Play Music. I think the first edition was in Brazil or something. I applied for that because I was connecting, and I think my music connects with the type of values that is conveyed or shared by the World Fair Play community, using one's music, to positively impact your community. That's exactly what I've been doing for decades. Um, so when I was finally selected as a Fair Play ambassador, I was like, oh my God, yes, finally. And finally, I'll have the opportunity to meet all those amazing people making the same job that I do, music, and making that job for the same purpose. I mean, that's kind of the kind of network that truly nourish your your motivation, because it's not always easy to be that artist that kind of chases injustice in one's community. You create yourself several enemies, and most of the time those enemies are very powerful because they're literally decision makers, and you need to kind of have a safe space where you can be encouraged, where you can think loudly with a community of people. And that's actually what fair play represents to me. I mean, in terms of fighting corruption, for example, uh, there's just there are just a few places where I feel as safe as within the fair play circle to talk about corruption. So fair play is a safe space to me, and man, those amazing musicians that I met, the DC experience was just amazing. It was amazing. I mean, um, being able to give a part of yourself to other people. What do I mean by part of myself? I mean, your music is part of your soul that you take. So it's a bit of your soul that you take out and share with the rest of the world. So when someone welcomes you into part of his soul, I mean, that's the biggest gift that I received from people, and those brothers, Faith Musa, for example, the Shanti Power Band, Lane, and even those others who are not there. Even yourself, man, your session, your reflection session about the music business and all that. Man, it was good. I mean, frankly, if I was to remake the same experience, to go again for the same experience, I'll do it 1,000 times, man. I'll do it 1,000 times.
It's good to hear. And if you say that it rekindled that motivation, what exactly is your, let's say, your hope for the future? What is your motivation?
My hope for the future is first seeing people who are heard, like musicians, artists, public figures, but caring about the most present issues of our community. Man, I live in Africa and I can't tell you, like, I guess anywhere else in the world, I can't tell you the types of damage that corruption makes. And I have other colleagues, other big brothers who have been there in the same job. A musician in the Congo, for example, who have been there since decades over me. People that I've been seeing on the TV when I was a kid and all that, but who literally don't care about how bad the country is going. I mean, they have a lot of money. They're very famous. I mean, dozens of times famous, more famous than me. But they just sing about love and cars and beautiful girls and how much money they have in the bank accounts. And sometimes I tell them, I'm like, yo, you know what, big bro? Yes, life is good, love is good, enjoying life is good, but we also have to keep an eye on our surroundings. We just don't have smiles and beautiful faces around. And no, there are also things that are going wrong, and we need to use our voice to raise our voices to address that. So my hope for the future is seeing more musicians, especially because that's my field, more musicians being conscious of how bad their communities are going, and tackling pressing issues into their songs. I think that's the best gift that we can give to those people who make us famous, and those people who allow us to earn a lot of money. I mean, it's talking about their problems as well. That's my hope for the future.
Let's talk about a specific injustice that we've talked about before, the case of intellectual property rights, and also with the 26th of April, which is also my birthday coming up, World Intellectual Property Day. I know you have a specific story, especially also related to developing countries. Could you share a little bit about that, please?
Oh man, I used to give people an example. I'm like, what if you're walking on a street and you see, because here our policemen have AK-47s, and you see and you just see an AK-47 right there. Would you go and touch it, like play with it? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, because you know that somebody's house tool, right? It's a tool somebody used to work with it. What if you go in a hospital and you see all those equipment doctor use, what I mean, for surgery and all that? Would you just go and play with it? And people are usually like, no, because I know I'm not a doctor. And so I'm like, what about songs that you download illegally? What about songs that you use, I mean, without having permission? Like, and you don't even use it for private purposes. You don't use it in your house. But what about how you treat musicians' equipment? Because our songs are what we sell, are the things that we work with, are the things that the work that we present on stages and all that. And they're like, yeah, but but music, we have internet, and yeah, if I can download, I just download. I'm like, you gotta keep in your mind that that's somebody's property. And like, it's been 3 years that I'm personally on court chasing a beer company. It's actually uh, um, a multinational company, a big company that actually used my music. The company's name is Congo. Congo used my music for commercial purposes without neither asking for permission or paying my right. And they're used to do it in the Congo, because I'm not the first artist with whom they've had difficulties. But most of artists here are not strong enough, especially when the 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 abuser is a powerful person. They don't have enough courage to go and confront those people. And people were thinking that I was crazy, and they were like, no, but Alesh, they got a lot of money, they got all the politicians in their hands, they got justice in their hands. Why do you want to waste your time and sue them? And the justice, how justice does work in the DRC. Why do you want to waste your time? And I was like, you know what? This is my right. And if I have to die for my right, I think I will die for my right. And even if my daughter was just born will have to go to university and study law to come and achieve what I studied, that's what will happen. I'll be here in even after 20 years. So it's been 3 years already that Bracongo is um, doing what it does best. I'm not gonna say it here. It's justice, but you understand. And they play the tricks. They have their schemes and tricks and all that. And they thought that I would stop like in 6 months after it started. It's been 3 years and I'm still there. They even changed the jurisdiction, like they play their tricks, what I mean, to do that. If we want to go on court, we go in a different city, and it's far from Kinshasa. And here you don't have trains, you don't have roads, you have to take planes. So your lawyers have to take planes and go to a different city. You have to pay for the hotel, pay for per diems and all that. Actually, they did that on purpose in order to kind of kill me financially. But I decided to still go for it. So we're still fighting. And it's a call that I'm making to all the authorities, because that beer company is actually part of a French brewery group. It's called the Castel Group. Castel Group in France. A lot of people know Castel beer. So they're part of that group, and that's what they used to do to artists here in the DRC. I'm not the only one. Even in my case, we're like 7 artists. I'm the only one, and the others told me like, Alesh, we're looking forward to seeing how your case will end, and if it works, we'll come after.
Easy way. What is your advice
Yeah,
to these
yeah,
artists?
man.
What would you want to say to them? People that experience the same thing.
Man, I'll say that nobody can value the time that we spend in studio away from our family. Oh, if you want to monetize, I have a little girl. My firstborn is 4 years old. When I go to studio, I spend sometimes days, without seeing my own daughter. Uh, if you want to monetize that time, I mean, how do you monetize it? It doesn't have any value. I mean, it's not valuable. Like it doesn't have any financial value that you can give to the time that I should have spent with my daughter. So, man, someone who wanna take that sacrifice away from you, don't ever hesitate. Go if you're sure that it's your right, man, go for it. No matter the time that it takes, be have enough courage and go to confront those people. Um, I have experience out of Africa as well, and I know that out of Africa, it's easier because justice does it work better. It does it works better. But here in Africa, we have, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, we have a kind of different context, if you know what I mean. And for someone who's paid $300 a month, putting him in a situation where he has to say who's right and who's wrong on an a judiciary issue that may bring $1 million, for example, that person is, I mean, more than open to corruption. If it's a judge, how would you pay a judge $300 and ask him to, to make calls on cases worthing million and million of dollars? When someone comes, like I heard that one of the folks here, I'm not saying who did that, but I heard that one of them got some kind of dozens of thousands of dollars. And I was like, yeah, you're killing your own people. And the song that they used was a banger here, and it was a song against tribalism, but they used it for publicity, for beer publicity. And you, as a judge, you choose just to close your eyes and say, it's hard, man. It's hard. But definitely, you guys, my fellow musicians, you've got to know your rights on whatever creation you're making. And if someone comes and abuses your right, fight for it. Fight for it. Our job is not an easy job.
I will say that the way you told your story and how you linked it to spending away time from your family, I think that was truly inspiring. So I hope it reaches a lot of other artists who will then make the same call to fight. Because somebody has to start, right? You can always say, yeah, it's not going to work. Then it will
Yeah,
never work.
absolutely. Hmm.
Alesh, if people want to find out more about you and maybe you have some upcoming projects you want to talk about, some tours, some music, what's coming and where can they find you?
All right. First of all, on all digital platforms, Alesh Official, Alesh Officiel. We're everywhere, social media, other um, legal streaming platforms. Alesh, you'll find my music up there, or you can just Google my name, Alesh DRC, and you'll see relevant results coming up. Um, Upcoming project. I'm currently concluding my tour in Africa. So in 10 days, I'll be performing in Abidjan in Ivory Coast as part of the FEMUA Music Festival. It's the biggest music festival in Ivory Coast, actually. I'll be performing there. And after, I have a concert in Pointe Noire in the other Congo Brazzaville, and another concert in Cabinda, Angola, and we'll conclude our tour on May 18 in Rabat, Morocco. We'll be performing in Morocco. And very soon I'll be releasing my next single. The next single title is Le tombeau est vide, which means the grave is empty. It's based on our reality here, where politicians or decision makers usually steal money from the state. I mean, our money from the taxpayers. And after they bring them on court, they're usually acquitted. Like, no, he didn't do it. Okay, so how come money is not there? Money is not there, is no longer there, and there's no guilty. So the grave is empty, like just like Jesus, like everything just disappeared and there's no guilty. So that's the next song coming, Le tombeau est vide in French.
Looking forward to hearing that.
But people can still check my previous projects on my YouTube channel, Alesh Officiel, and yeah, in every platform.
As always, the last question. What is the power of music?
What is the power of music? If you want to make somebody do something, you've got to touch his soul. I mean, you have to move someone in order to make him do things. That's the spiritual component of the human being. He needs to be touched in his heart in order to do something. Music is something that is very spiritual, and it's one of those scarce languages that directly speak to the soul. You may even not understand the language of the musician, the language that is sung, but the song makes you cry. That means that it touches your heart and your soul. Music is a very powerful tool to make people do things. It helps you to fall in love. It helps you to understand that, no, the situation I'm living in is not normal and I have to go down on the street and protest. It helps you to mourn one of your beloved ones who has died, and then you listen to a music and you start crying because you think of him. So that's the power of music. It speaks to the soul and it makes people do things. So it's quite a powerful weapon. Use it wisely.
Thank you so much, Alesh.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. I appreciate that. Thanks to everyone. We hope you stay connected and listen to next episodes of this podcast. And yeah, follow me on social media. And yeah, GMI as always.
Thank you very much for listening. If you want more information about JM or would like to get involved, visit www.jmi.net, where you can find more information and look for national member organizations. Or go to www.mubazar.com to get an overview of all the amazing opportunities for musicians. It would mean a lot to us if you could give us 1 minute of your time and review and rate this podcast. And in case you have any suggestions, please feel free to reach out to us through the JMI social.